Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the new season of MTV's Decoded, starring Franchesca Ramsey. Their latest controversially regressive video has them going after men, attacking our supposed toxic masculinity. The video in question is called, "Why Don't Straight Men Hold Hands?" Check this bullshit out.
When you see two guys holding hands, what do you think is going on? Your answer will not surprise me.
Is this some kind of trick question? If two guys are holding hands, I think they're gay, because they are. And that's what most people would think too, because it's true.
Look, there are lots of reasons to not hold hands. Maybe you have a cold, maybe your palms are sweaty, maybe your fingers are coated in a slimy layer of Cheeto dust that you tried licking off but then turned into an orange paste that's stuck under your nails. Been there. But there are a few totally bogus reasons that have straight cis dudes freaked out everywhere at the idea of physical contact with another man.
Where? I haven't seen any guys freaked out about physical contact in ages. That's something children freak out about in grade school. Not something to worry about in the real world though. Way to tackle the biggest non-problem in the world again, Franny. Not only are straight guys not even afraid of physical contact, even if they were, this is a non-issue. And by the way you titled this video and started it off, it's starting to sound like you're advocating for grown men to hold hands more, which is totally absurd, and it's based off a false assumption too. Just because you don't see straight guys holding hands doesn't mean they're afraid to. They just don't do it. Guys will get physical in other ways though, like handshakes, high fives, and even bro hugs with friends. And choosing these options over hand holding isn't that big a deal either, but I'm guessing Franny and her nerdy sycophants over at MTV, they will have something different to say about it.
So we won't call it mansplaining, but I have found the perfect straight cis dude to help explain. Hey there, Kenny. Touched any dudes lately?
So many, Francesca. Somehow, I'm still straight.
If you say so, buddy. I've got my doubts though, and I have a pretty good gaydar, and considering you're about to advocate for straight male hand-holding, I wouldn't say you're in the best position to say, I'm a straight guy. Sounds a little forced and offensive. Also, I love how we're 30 seconds into this and Francesca has already said straight cis male twice. The way she says cis instead of cis really cracks me up every time. And of course, using the term cis for straight is also totally bullshit. It's just a way for leftists and social justice warriors to try and other the straight and normal people. Giving them this weird term like cis is their way of trying to make the average normal person sound weird and strange, like them.
Look, showing affection, friendship, and familiarity through touch is perfectly normal. And it's actually instinctive. One of our first impulses as dumb little babies is to hold stuff. It's so instinctive there's actually a name for it. It's the Palmer grasp reflex.
That's all well and good, and I'm with you so far, but can we backtrack to when you said stupid dumb babies for a second? When this straight guy says dumb little babies, he makes this creepy strangling hand gesture with an angry face to go with it. Now, I assume he was trying to convey how a baby grabs things, but it really came off as if he was choking out a baby. Weirdo. Wouldn't be too surprised coming from this guy though. As we've seen over the years, male feminists like him are the ones who always end up freaking out and getting fresh or aggressive with women, resulting in incidents. Male feminists are just beta boys who think they could get laid by kissing the asses of women, not realizing these female feminists are really still only interested in banging Chad Thundercocks, despite what they may lead on.
It's a reaction in human babies and many other mammals prompting them to grab an object, like a finger, in response to its touch. That's right. Even in a state where our skulls are mushy and we're liable to crap ourselves, we still understand that touch is natural. And it isn't always romantic.
I don't see how this is related. Babies reaching out and grabbing things has nothing to do with adult straight men not holding hands. Sure, physical contact is natural. You got me there, but there's already plenty of contact out there. I guess the problem is MTV isn't seeing the kind of physical contact they want, and they're assuming it's because guys are freaked out and now they're advocating to change this non-problem. The real issue here is, why does MTV want guys to hold hands anyway? And I'm really not 100% sure yet, but I am onto them. I think maybe it's a way for them to further devalue men and for them to attack our masculinity too. That's why liberals always push all this gender fluidity, there's no male or female crap. They pretend they want things to be less gendered when really they just want things to be more feminine and less masculine. And that brings us back to today's topic. MTV wants things to be more feminine and female-like, so they are pushing for men to act more like females with this hand-holding crap. Our natural choices of physical contact aren't good enough for MTV. They want men to take on this female physical contact choice, hand-holding, which is absolutely absurd. I mean, if we we flip things around here for a second, who's to say the female hand-holding preference is the best one anyway? I mean, I know MTV and other regressives will always prefer women over men. Feminine over masculine is always their preference, and here's how I can prove it. What if we suggested to MTV that women should not hold hands and perhaps do high fives and chest bumps like men instead? In my opinion, those are superior because that's what men do, and women should too, or else something might be wrong with them. I'm kidding here, of course, or being a little coy, but now you can see how flipping the script here would automatically infuriate the leftists in MTV, thus proving their bias and absolute insanity.
You know, but at some point, middle school, non-sexual touch between men gets stigmatized. And a lot of it comes down to the absurd social norms we impose on young men called toxic masculinity. And no, toxic masculinity is not a new energy drink.
But before we go any further, let's just point out that toxic masculinity doesn't mean that men are inherently bad or toxic.
Well, you say that now, but the term toxic masculinity sure sounds like you're saying men are toxic. And it also sounds like some bullshit to me. It's a bullshit made-up SJW term used to attack men for being men. I mean, this straight guy even said that in middle school, male-to-male touch is stigmatized by toxic masculinity, which is supposedly imposed on everyone by all of society or culture or some shit. It's really not, though. This is just classic Francesca Ramsey logic. Her and the left think everything comes from culture and society, and there's some sort of secret male-run toxic masculinity / white supremacy pulling the strings back there, like the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. It's some real tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist level bullshit, and MTV is really missing the point here too. If they really wanted to answer the video's question, they're not getting there at all. Men don't not hold hands because toxic masculinity told them not to. They just don't want to hold hands. Gay guys sometimes do, and girls do too. And a straight guy will hold his girlfriend's hand as well, but they don't do that with guys. It's just a more romantic thing for guys. I don't know. I didn't wake up this morning and think I would be explaining how hand-holding works today, but here we go. It's basically just the way things are done traditionally, and the way that both genders feel comfortable expressing themselves. This is also natural, by the way. What's unnatural and wrong here is what MTV's doing and their stance. They are seemingly pushing for straight men to hold hands, despite that going against their natural inclinations. All for some bullshit SJW cause, which is essentially their way of boosting up women, while also attacking and degrading men.
It's the idea that the cultural expectations and restrictions on what constitutes masculinity, or a real man, can be extremely damaging.
Toxic masculinity, because holding back your emotions requires energy.
Maybe you're holding back emotions, buddy, but don't assume all of us guys are. Just because men aren't crying all the time and wearing their emotions on their sleeves doesn't mean we're holding back or doing anything wrong. This is another false assumption. MTV thinks that because men don't express and handle their emotions in the same ways as women, that there's something wrong with that. Much like how they think this about women hand-holding and men not. In both cases, they are wrong, of course. Dead wrong. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with being different and not holding hands like how women do. And it's funny how I have to explain this to Franny and MTV, who are supposedly these virtuous, righteous leftists who try and stand up for different people, like trans or lesbians or gays or blacks or minorities. But when it comes to emotions and physical contact, anything different than the female, feminine way appears to be wrong. To them, men are toxic and holding back emotions, according to MTV. Or, what about this more realistic view? Men are just less emotional, or at least they show it less, and in less obvious ways. Just because women are more emotional, or at least more visibly emotional and upfront about it, doesn't mean that's the way everyone should do it. In fact, I could make a good argument against being more emotional. I would say being a stronger, more stoic man about things is a much more level-headed and beneficial way of acting, especially throughout human history, like in times of war, famine, disease, or natural disasters. Strong men who fought through the hard times are the ones who kept this country and human civilization alive all these years, despite the many challenges we faced. But just because things are simpler and easier now, there's no war or poverty or famine in the United States at least, just because we're sitting pretty now, doesn't mean we should start to shun these masculine features which got us here. Regressing into more emotional, weaker states is not a good idea, and it could potentially weaken our people and be the downfall of the human race, eventually down the road.
Or when was the last time you just went up to your boy and you were like, yo, let's hold hands, mother. He was like, hell yeah, my dude. What's funny is that our reluctance to hold hands is because it's gay or feminine, and that assumes that there's something wrong with men being gay or feminine. There's not.
Well, if all men were gay and feminine, like what you seem to be promoting, then there would be no children to populate our country's future. And these MTV guys just keep getting this wrong over and over again. Guys aren't not holding hands because people tell them not to. They're not doing it because they naturally don't want to. It feels weird to hold another guy's hand for too long. Most straight guys, like myself, we see this kind of hand holding as romantic. I'll hold my wife's hand all day, but not my best guy friends or even my brothers. What's actually ridiculous here is these chicks and gay dudes at MTV MTV are expecting everyone else to want to hold hands like them. Otherwise, you are under the spell of toxic masculinity and something's wrong with you. What a joke. Might as well say something like, hey, my family likes to kick each other in the knees when we meet up. We do it every day, and unless you adhere to that, something is wrong with you, not us. This also doesn't address the fact that some people just don't like holding hands at all. Gay or straight, male or female. Some people just aren't touchy-feely, so they won't hold hands with anyone, even loved ones. And there's nothing wrong with that either, but MTV would say something's wrong here, because anyone who doesn't adhere to their leftist, feminist, SJW norms is flawed, according to MTV. And they're really starting to sound like the actual Nazis again. This is some real fascist, discriminatory bullshit.
The idea that straight men holding hands is inherently gay reached a fever pitch not so long ago during the height of a boy band you might have heard of called One Direction. Two of the band's members, Louis Tomlinson and Harry Styles, were known for their close friendship. They were frequently photographed hugging, holding hands, and even kissing.
Those guys are gay though. Harry Styles has even been quoted as saying, we're all a little bit gay, but really, we're not. But this does show that he is, at least somewhat. Not that there's anything wrong with that either, but all MTV is doing by bringing this up is proving that male hand-holding is done by gay guys. And this is pretty much the exact opposite of the point of this video.
The band has since broken up, but in 2017, Louis Tomlinson confirmed that his friendship with Styles was changed by fans' insistence that their friendly affection made them gay. He told 17 magazine, "It created this atmosphere between the two of us where everyone was looking into everything we did."
Aw, poor millionaire celebrities. I bet it's so hard dealing with the press, the cameras, and the internet forums all coming after you 24/7. But hey, you are getting paid very well to do this, so there is that upside. Also, if you don't want people to think you're gay with your bandmate, you could start by not holding his hand in public and not dressing like total queens either. That would help too. I don't walk outside in my Miami Heat t-shirt and then get surprised when people think I'm a fan of the basketball team. Or if someone went out walking in the streets, goose-stepping and raising their hand like Hitler, they wouldn't be surprised if people think they're a Nazi. And the same goes with guys holding hands in public. People will think you're gay because that's a thing gay guys do. Not because of toxic masculinity or the patriarchy or any of that bullshit. It's because gay men have done it for generations, and we've seen it throughout history. People have seen that and made a pretty simple assumption based on experience. And these assumptions based on experiences and seeing gay guys do it, they are much more accurate and justified than MTV's assumptions. They are claiming this is happening because society imposes toxic masculinity on everyone, which is a completely absurd assumption based on nothing. There's no way to prove that's true in any way. Saying society and culture and it's in entertainment or some shit, these are all just conspiracy theories based on the biased left-wing politics of a really stupid, racist, anti-white and anti-male hack job that's known as Francesca Ramsey. In the end, we already know the very obvious answer to MTV's video and its title's question. Straight men don't hold hands because they don't want to. Simple as that. Straight men think that hand-holding is more of a romantic thing. Hell, gay guys do too. Perhaps women hold hands platonically more, and that's fine if they want to, that's cool. This is all natural, and these all come from us being human beings and having these natural inclinations or preferences for certain forms of physical contact. The real issue today is this. MTV Decoded is trying to shame men for not holding hands like women, which is just really stupid. Holding hands or not holding hands, neither is better than the other. They're just different, but not for Franny and MTV. She thinks women and minorities are above men and whites, so that's what's brought us all here today. What did you guys think of today's video? Why do you think straight men don't hold hands? And who's to say hand holding is better than not? And is the guy in this MTV video actually straight? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. We'll see y'all next time.